Hello again, it's Mr. Pete. Welcome back to the shop, and this is episode number 80 of my What Is It series. Lots of things to show you, viewer appreciation gifts, and so on. So stick with me, it'll be a long video, but I want to start out by saying that several months ago I made the mistake of asking people to send in questions, and my intent there was to collect some questions and then answer them on the air, more about my channel and me, not about the machines and things. But what happened to that is that many people thought that I was saying, send me questions on how to fix my lathe, and I do not want to do that at all. All of my teaching is through the videos. I can't do individual questions. It's just, you can't believe the number of emails I get, and some of them are unreasonable. Please go out into your cold garage where it's 20 degrees, get down on your back with a flashlight underneath your lathe and measure the pulley for me. I'm not going to do that. That is not a reasonable thing to request, but I do understand that some of you are in desperate straits, and who else are you going to ask? But please stay away. I'm 80 years old. I can't do that. So I hope I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. So let's begin. I got a lot of neat things to show you. So recently I received a letter, or I should say an email, from one Mr. Caleb Farr, and he's an engineer and he is manufacturing these clocks. He makes STARRETTs in several different models, and there are Mitutoyos. I think there's a Brown and Sharpe. So if you're interested in this, I'm going to show you in a minute his card and his QR code. You can look that all up, and also I'll have a link to this in the description below. So this is so awesome. I'm going to hang it on the wall right up here. I'll show you in a second. But here we have an 8-inch clock, and this is modeled after a number 709 STARRETT indicator. I had a laugh when my daughter took some pictures. She said, "Oh, I like that pendulum." No, honey, it's not a pendulum. It's the probe, I told her. And much of this is 3D printed. It's really, he did an awesome job. The clock will lift off the base, and then there's a hanging hole back here. So let me show you where you can get one of these if you're interested. It's really a neat decoration for your shop, and useful too. And thank you, Caleb, for that very much. And Caleb modeled his clock after the STARRETT 709, and this is a recent STARRETT catalog. And he offers these in different colors as well. You might find that interesting. Here's a sheet that he sent me. That's the one that I have. Of course, this is black and white, and I believe this is the red one. Okay, here's Caleb Farr's business card, and he calls his firm Falcon Factory, and falconfactory.com company site. So check that out. Let me show you the other side now. Here's the back side of the business card, and there's the QR code, so let's see what happens when we check that out. So check that out if you're interested. And I will put a still picture of this at the end of the video so that you can use this QR code. And this is where I keep the new STARRETT clock, right up on the wall, just a little bit above my workbench. I'm really hurting for wall space, as you can tell. Okay, time for a little rant here. Recently I pulled out this Dremel tool because I have 3 or 4 of them. Normally I use the Ryobi, which I've had for 20 years and works perfectly. This was brand new in the drawer, and I put a burr in there, and I forgot what the job was. It was a couple of weeks ago, and I ground away for about 10 seconds, and then it just quit. It just plain stopped. So I took the screws out of this. I'm thinking, what's the matter here? So let me see if I can get this apart and show it to you. Got to take that off, I guess. So when I opened it up, the little fan on the end of the armature here had just plain disintegrated. from either old or poor quality plastic. So that is the fan and the little coupler here and all of that, and you know, it just quit running. So look at it, it's brand new and it failed. Shame on you, Dremel, for selecting that kind of plastic which you did not research. Shame on you. And now let's cover several viewer appreciation gifts. Now to start with, some people are sending me items that are drop shipped. Now I don't know how I found out that Robert 574 was the man, and thank you, Robert. But please identify yourself. Maybe he did in an email or something. So I got a couple nice felt tip pens there, and he knows, he heard me talk about the virtues of extra long drill bits. So there are like 2 sets of all different common sizes, I believe, of extra long drill bits to give you that little extra reach for those of you that do not like to be too close to your work. Thank you, Robert. Perhaps some of you remember a few weeks ago when I bought these reamers, and I still haven't solved the mystery of why did somebody grind the shanks? Because the end, you know, the cutting end is just fine, so we can't figure that out. But because of that, I believe, one Mr. Chris Bernier, and he's up in Minnesota, sent me this whole handful of taps here, and similarly, he's wondering why these taps were modified, and perhaps you can tell me, put it in the comments, where they have taken the shanks and turned them down, and there's some flats on some of the shanks, all different sizes here. Why would somebody do that? And they all appear to be good, sharp, usable taps. However, at this point, you couldn't hold them in a tap wrench because they do not have a square on the end. If anyone can tell me the purpose of this, like I said, put it in the comments. And thank you, Chris, for sending those along. I'm pretty sure that most of you have watched that real popular video of mine where I talked about STARRETT being sold out to some investment group. And in that video, but by the way, watch that if you haven't, because I mean it's just got 110 or 120,000 views, and a lot of people were shocked, as I was too. So we'll see what happens with them. But I did say, tongue-in-cheek, that I've given up on STARRETT and I'm getting rid of all my tools, and I'm not doing that. When you see me sell STARRETT tools, it's because they're duplicates or whatever. So I still love STARRETT. I just do not like what is happening to them. And several people have asked me over the years, was Leroy Starrett a Masonic Temple man? Because this looks so much like the Masonic Temple symbol, or icon, whatever you call that. And I don't even know what the Masonic Temple is. But yes, I believe he was a Mason. Maybe he laid bricks for that big building that ran out in Athol, Massachusetts. I don't know. What is the Masonic? People keep asking me, are you, tubalcain, are you a man? No, I'm not. I don't know what that is. They ask if I'm a traveling man, and I always say, yeah, I'm traveling to Chicago this weekend to the auto show. Enough on that. But I still love STARRETT. So in that video, I said, again, tongue-in-cheek, I'm getting rid of my STARRETT tools and I'm going to become a Mitutoyo man, because I had just recently bought this set of Mitutoyo squares. And, oh, by the way, in that video I got a comment, and of all things, the comment came from Mitutoyo of America. And they're up in the suburbs, not too far from my son's house. But anyway, they liked the video. And I said, why don't you send me some promotional stuff? And they said they would, but they haven't yet, so we'll see what happens. But the reason I'm showing these Mitutoyo items here again, and they're just wonderful. I was going to sell these, but I think I'll keep it. It's missing the nut on the protractor. Other than that, this set is perfect. Well, about a week later, I get in the mail from Mr. B. Jolly, and he's down in Florida, a brand new center finding head, Mitutoyo, and there's the nut. So I can either steal the nut off of this or throw this and put it on here or whatever. But notice that there's a different color here. Can anyone tell me which is the new color? Is it this or is this the new color? And why did they change colors? I do like both of these, and it's a hammer tone finish. So look for me to have a renewed interest in Mitutoyo from Japan. To this point in time, I have made about 10 videos on the beautiful little Unimat. Some of them are not released yet, and I just recently made this little tool post rocker lantern type. There's a video on that still not released, but people have been sending me items for the Unimat, and this did not appear in one of the other videos. So Mr. Gene Weller from Idaho made me a riser block for the tailstock. Now I have several others, but essentially it will raise the tailstock up and it'll set right on there, and that would be used in conjunction with raising the headstock, and I have already shown you that filler block there some time ago. Thank you, Gene. Here's a real interesting box from Mr. Mike Cooper. Thank you very much, with miscellaneous things, quite a heavy box. And let's start out by showing you that he gave me a STARRETT indicator magnetic holder with the flex. I've never had a lot of luck with these, but I'll give it another try because I do not think I ever had a genuine STARRETT. I had other brands such as Enco, but that is supposed to tighten. As you can see, now it's tight. And here's an annular cutter that he sent me. It looks to be in perfect condition. I hope that fits mine. I believe it will. And 3 long end mills, extra long. That one's the ball type. That's a 1/2 inch. And there's another one. I think this one's been damaged on the tip. And in these tubes here, we've got end mills, ball type, and I believe they're all the same. Yeah, looks like they're 3/4. So there's a bunch of those, and then a whole stack here of, and he told, I believe he's the one that said if you can't use this stuff, go ahead and sell it on Pete Bay. So I'm not an expert on carbides by any means. And then there's about 4 little holders here of taps. They're brand new, American made. You know, a good sharp tap really helps prevent tap breakage. You can really struggle with a dull tap, break it off, and then what do you got? Nothing but trouble. Thank you, Mike Cooper, Home Shop Machinist. And in this particular issue, which is the May-June of 2024, he has written an article, and I think he's a regular contributor. So he bills himself, he's kind of like me. You know, he says he's the old retired shop teacher, and he's making a bar stock disc sander. This is part 2, so I'll have to go back into the archives because now I have access to go to the website and I can look, I believe, at back issues. So this is part 2 of how to make this little disc sander, and I believe it's a project that he made in his classes when he was still teaching, and he's been retired for a while, kind of like me. Thank you, Roger. I believe Roger told me that he doesn't live too far away from the Craftsmanship Museum. I'd like to check it out, but they do have a website showing intricate models that people have made over the years. So I found that to be quite interesting. Now, Roger, again, he was a teacher, and there was a man by the name of George, it's kind of a hard word, George Generovo, and he had a company called Jamaica Pattern Kits, and it was very similar to Peterson Products. He was in all the catalogs right alongside Peterson Products items, but one of his items at Jamaica was a little plane like this, and he sold the patterns, I believe, and the cast. Now this one's cast iron and was probably made by Rogers Class many years ago, like a little Stanley block plane. So that's really awesome. I think they made the blades and the knobs and everything. Again, thanks, Roger. I still do not know who sent me these items, but thank you, whoever it might be, because they're drop shipped. So there are magnifying glasses here, several different styles. Apparently this man, and thank you, knows that I'm 80 years old. Sometimes it's a little difficult to see. Matter of fact, I can't see what I'm doing right now. But there's another little magnifier in there, a loop, and big one here. Wow, that'll help. You know, I'll have Henry come over someday and we'll burn some ants on the sidewalk. These are great for that. That's a nice loop, and it's made in Germany. Here's an interesting group of items given to me by one Mr. Stevenson in Maryland. So in this little wooden box here, these are brand new. All these items are brand new. There's some little taps here, but they're an odd size. They're a 1040. We're used to 1032s, but so this is probably extra fine. I haven't looked it up. And it comes in a little wooden box. Can you imagine that? Finger jointed. That's got to be from the 40s. Also, a whole box, not a whole box, there's about 6 1/4-20 bottoming taps in here, and they are Pratt & Whitney. Look at the kind of boxes that they used to make with the little metal tabs that you can bend over right here. And here is a set of Jones & Lamson chasers. I don't believe I have anything that'll fit these. That's the tangent type, or tangential, I guess. And here we got a brand new, never been used. It's a big one. What is it? It's a 13/16, and that's what a good tip looks like. It's not Chinesium. Straight shank though. I don't know if I have anything that'll hold something that big. And on this tube we have kind of an odd size reamer. Cleveland, I believe it said. It's in 30 seconds, but it's an adjustable reamer. Very long shank. And finally, still with the tissue paper on it, a 9/16 chucking reamer. What brand? Pratt & Whitney. Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Some people have been so good and so generous to me, and I thank you for it, but this whole pile of stuff here is from Latham Marks. He's out in Ohio, and let's go through this real quickly. Here is a roll of magnetic tape. It's sticky on one side and magnetic on the other side, so that'll be handy for packing things, and some more tape. This is the mounting tape, double back, I guess you'd call it. And you know, I've been complaining about the cheap chucks that come on like a DeWalt drill, you know, those worthless plastic things. So he sent me a high quality one. It's the professional duty with the key, and it's the threaded type. I believe it'll fit most drills. And a complete roll pin kit. Well, I'm not going to open because I'll spill them. 110 piece. And there is a little package of 1/4-28 long set screws. I should have taken one out to show you. And boy, here's some. I have my wife mark all this stuff so I can kind of keep track of it. So here's a whole bag of extra long. These are 1032s, it looks like. And another bag of slightly smaller ones. And he gave me this amazing sign, the Frankenmill. And you know what? He included this piece of aluminum, which I think was just sent to keep it from bending. But this is on even thicker aluminum than this. And I'm not sure how he did that, or if it's etched or what. But I believe he is referring to that South Bend mill that somebody called the Frankenmill. So I'll put this out in the garage on the on the South Bend mill. But thank you. That is so awesome. And yet he sent even one more item. Hang on. And last but not least, by Mr. Marks, he sent me in a separate box. He must have spent 50 bucks for shipping, a full gallon of Evaporust. Because he knows I like to restore things from time to time. Thank you. Did this just become a CRC product, or has that always been on there? But I'm not done with Mr. Marks. He is a very generous man and sent me a very large cash donation that was in this envelope. I'm not going to tell you how much, but it's a lot more than I usually get. So thank you for your generosity. You are an amazing man, and thank you for following my channel. Thank you to the many of you that watched my videos, there were 2 of them, on the Vevor drill grinder. It's such a great machine. Matter of fact, it's so great they sent me another one. So watch for videos on this, a slightly different model, although it does the same thing. So there'll be a video on this, and I'm still not done. They sent me yet another one, and it's a slightly different model, although I don't see it to be all that different. So now I have 3 of these. So watch for the videos on these 2. Go back and watch this one, and I think you'll like it. These are about the best drill grinder I've ever used, other than a genuine $2,000 Derrick's, not to be confused with the cheap plastic one. Many of you may remember my video on the Vaughan and Bushnell hammer factory down in Bushnell, Illinois, and they gifted me several hammers that have been engraved with my name. Almost too nice to use, that's why I haven't used them. There's another one. Well, why am I telling you this? Well, here's why. My friend Craig Heath down in Bushnell told me about this, but now I see a news bulletin on my phone where Bushnell's Vaughan and Bushnell factory is to close after 150 years. 130 jobs gone, and they just had a big contract from, I believe it was Home Depot, and they are unable to fulfill it. So this sickens me. Go back and watch that video. I'll show you a picture of the name of that video. There's the title page if you want to watch my hammer factory tour. I know that was a long one. Thank you for sticking with me. There'll be a few still pictures at the end. If you like this type of content, consider giving me a thumbs up. Many more videos are in the can and are ready to go, so search for them weekly because you might not be notified. Just search for tubalcain. My name, tubalcain, is in the title of every one of my videos, so that's the quickest way to get to 1,500 videos and keep you out of trouble and keep you watching for the next year. Thanks again to all of you people that have been so generous to me, and for those of you that just enjoy the videos. See you next time.